So, I want to talk about the healing journey and healing not being a linear path. And so often, what really keeps people from healing is that they think it's a linear path and they're not really committed to the entire journey. They want to be where they are too healthy in a very short time and it to be better, 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 best. And that's just not realistic. I have went through on my journey and can tell you that it's not linear. There are ups and downs, but it is a gradual climb up the mountain. And sometimes you're going through straight stretches, sometimes you're going straight up, and sometimes you have to go through a valley. You have to go down a little bit to come back up. So, I want to talk more about what the journey really looks like. But one thing we do have to realize is there is no going from where you are to turning all your symptoms off and feeling really amazing. The quick fixes do not exist. If they did, the person who invented them would definitely be multi-billionaires, and then the FDA would shut them down. So, we have to get to that place where we are a little comfortable with our symptoms. It's not that we don't want them to go away and we're not working on them going away, but we need to not have our consciousness sit in our symptoms or in our pain. We want to move it away so that we can really focus on healing because the journey itself is going to be ups and downs. And what it looks like is as you add in your foundation support, which in the Heal Yourself program, that is doing your genetics, doing your blood work, doing your organic acid test, getting a really good idea of what your body needs, getting those tools in place, starting to work on detox. And then your body needs time. And over time, as your body has those tools, it's going to start to remove the toxin overload that's happening. It's going to start to use the energy that you're giving it, use the nutrients, the tools, the supplements that you're giving it to start to make repairs. But those repairs take time. You didn't get to where you were overnight. Even if you think it happened overnight or if there was one thing that set it off, it really wasn't. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. You had dysfunction happening, and that was just enough to set you into some symptoms. So it's recognizing that it's been lifelong withdrawals on the body, taxing the body, that is causing all of these dysfunctions. So we have to also recognize that it's going to take time for the body to repair and catch up. Um, and in order to do that, you need to reduce the stress on it, and then you need to give it the tools to heal and help it repair its detox pathways, help remove pathogens, metals, those sort of things. So, what it normally looks like, and what I see when people go through the healing process, is most of the time they're having a lot of bad days. They might have no good days, or they might have one or two good days a month where they feel a little bit better. And then as they start to heal, what happens is we start to see the good days become more frequent. So we start to see more good days. So if they had two, maybe they might have five the next month that are good, and the rest are not so great. And then the following month, they might have 10 that are good, and then 20-ish that are not so good. So over time, the good days start to become more frequent and they start to be longer in duration. But you're still going to have some not so good days. That is part of healing. Just over time, you have less and less not good days. Now, when you get to optimal health, you're not going to feel amazing every single day all the time. That is not realistic. Anybody who tells you otherwise is probably taking a ton of uppers in the morning and a ton of downers in the evening. We see all those people, pumping the caffeine and all the natural stimulants that they can get in the morning. And then at night, they're like dialing in the CBD oil or, doing a lot of THC and bringing themselves down. That's not what we want to do. We want to create balance. We do have to recognize there's going to be days that we're tired. I have this rule. It worked a little bit better in Canada. Well, actually, in Canada, it didn't work that great either. But on a cloudy, crappy day, I normally am like, okay, this is going to be my day off. I'm just going to relax. I'm not going to do too much physical activity. I'm not going to do too much mental activity. I'm just going to chill out and be and do. Mind you, we live in Florida. We chill out and be and do all the time. But then in Florida, we don't get any of those days. It's really sunny like every single day. We had our first non-sunshine day in like 2.5 months where we didn't see the sun at all. But it's just, we are going to have some days where we're tired. For the longest time, Sunday used to be a day of rest. So people took a day off every week to rest. And we've kind of lost that. We've went into this expectation, this go, go, go mode where we think we need to always be on and always be doing and always be creating and always be having experience after experience and being busy all the time and filling up every hour of the day. And we do need some days of rest. So again, that's how it normally happens. You go from having a lot of bad days to having some good days. And then over time, those good days become more and more frequent. And then you get to feeling like you have almost all good days. But every once in a while, your body's going to say, hey, can we just tone down and rest? Because realistically, we are still up against a lot every day. We have our emotional stress, we have our physical stress, we also have the toxic burden that we deal with. So we want to keep supporting our bodies, and we also want to make sure we're getting in that self-care to give our body that time to recuperate and replenish itself. And that does also include some rest days. We need to include those. So when you're just starting out on your journey, or even if you've been on your journey for a while, you have to, have a picture of the top of the mountain that you're trying to climb and recognize that it's going to be up and down, and that's okay. That's part of the journey. And when you do this, when you realize that it's going to be up and down, it prevents a lot of things from happening. One, what often happens when things aren't working is people stop and try something else. And then they stop and try something else and stop and try something else. So they're bouncing from one thing to another, and they're never doing anything consistently. And that's what's really amazing about the Heal Yourself program, is it has a system to follow, and it allows you to be really consistent, because we also know by our lab work that we're running which supplements, what forms are right for our body, and then what our detox pathways need to repair themselves. And we give it to our body, and then we give our body time, right? It's that time aspect. And that prevents people from bouncing around, because you realize it's a journey and you can stay consistent. And I have clients who are super sensitive to supplements, and they bounce around a lot before they get into this program. And then we run the labs to see what their body needs, because now they don't have to question whether the body needs it or not, or whether they're just reacting. We know the body needs it. We just microdose it, and then we give the body a lot of time to build up tolerance, to shut off that immune response, and to use the tools to heal. So that's the biggest thing that understanding the journey prevents, is people from bouncing around, right? That starting and stopping, that's going to keep you from getting to where you need to be. So when you start this journey, or when you start tomorrow, even if this has been a long journey for you, just recognize that it is a journey. It's not a marathon. It's not a race. There are no quick fixes. And when you dial into that, you can really shift your focus to healing and allow those not so good days to come and allow them to pass. Because those good days will come again, as long as you stay consistent and you stay on task. So if you are looking for a practitioner, check out my coaching packages at www.sgintegrativehealing.com. And if this is something that you want to learn, something that you're passionate about, you want to learn how to analyze labs, you want to learn how to build a successful coaching business and really help people, then check out the Integrative Healing Academy, www.integrativehealingacademy.com. And as always, you can get a copy of my book at www.gethealyourself.com. And it's also available on Audible and Amazon.